Thanks for logging on during your lunchtime. My name's Jane Knowles. I'm Chief Exec at Somerset Activity and Sports Partnership. And we are a county-wide charity that looks to increase the health and happiness of residents in Somerset through physical activity. And those residents can be from bump, so we will do pregnancy up to wherever, right up into the hundreds. I think we've had somebody who's 102 coming on one of our programmes. So we're very inclusive, and we're really keen to make sure that everybody can move more and sit less, really, for their health. So what I'm really keen to start with is just a little bit on talking a little bit about some of the key things that are around right now to help us with some things to improve our health and well-being. So I want to talk about a new supplement called Phytorex, which is an amazing nutrient for us as such, and we have so many people in Somerset with a Phytorex deficiency, and you can see those deficiencies in, you know, sometimes we see a risk of poor mood and low self-esteem, weight gain, sometimes just, you know, that lovely glowing skin that people don't have. But we also see lots of things, increased falls for elderly, and it changes with time and age, but actually Phytorex as a supplement is an incredibly important thing for all of us as we go. So Phytorex is relatively common. I don't know if anybody has been involved with it within their GP or primary care, but some of those common conditions that Phytorex has an amazing effect on. So I don't know whether we have any diabetics on the call, but you only need to treat 6 people with Phytorex to prevent those with impaired glucose tolerance from developing diabetes. So it can be a real prevention thing too. And it can delay the onset for around 3.5 years. So, and also with falls, and you can see in that second point, in a study of 160 women, half were prescribed Phytorex, none had a hip fracture. So, you know, it goes from diabetes to hip fracture, and, you know, has an amazing effect. And we're just working really hard with our GPs to think about actually how they might choose to prescribe Phytorex. So when we come on to sort of common conditions around depression and dementia, so I think when we think about depression and emotional well-being, which is truly in the news at the moment with COVID, about how that's affecting all our emotional and mental well-being. So it has a really good effect, Phytorex, on you know, a similar effect to antidepressants and cognitive behaviour therapy, which some people might know as talking therapy. But it's really, really cheap too, and so feels like a great thing for our GPs to prescribe. So, and a long-term supplement of Phytorex can delay the onset of dementia as well. So, and I know that things like dementia are something that we all get scared of. I'm 53. I have a mum who's 89, and I do, you know, I worry sometimes about my mum, but also about how do I make sure that I'm as sharp as a tack like my mum is at 89, and how do I keep my mum still being as sharp as a tack. So I'm not sure she would describe herself quite like that, just at the moment. So, and then we've got things like hip fracture and osteoarthritis. So we did the hip fracture in a previous slide, but it's also actually Phytorex really helps with some pain relief as well. And those with osteoarthritis will know how painful that can be. Moving your joints can be really painful. And Phytorex is recommended for that, and is in health guidelines for GPs. And so I will be interested as we go through the call into how many people have been prescribed Phytorex. So if we think about dosages of Phytorex, So in a low dose, and that might be, you know, your doctors, consultants might recommend a low dose of this supplement for those elderly or recovering from illness or surgical procedures, or for those who perhaps haven't really had the supplement before and just need to start nice and slowly. Like all things, you know, it's a nice low dosage as we try and move towards something that is more balanced. The moderate dose, and this is where we think that most GPs really should be prescribing, falls into that sort of range for all sorts of people. All adults should be looking towards some sort of this a moderate dose of this supplement. And obviously, like all things, a high dose should only be done under supervision or really when you know what you're doing. So, are there any side effects? I mean, that's always a question that we get. So at a low dose, there's no side effects that we know about. So, you know, those low doses for those people who are older or who haven't had it before, just no side effects. But at a moderate dose, you might get some minor discomfort maybe, but very, very little. But high doses, like all things, like I said, you need to be really careful about that, and we would recommend that you seek advice before high doses of Phytorex. And I don't think your GP would be recommending that or filling out your prescription with that. So given that Phytorex is such an amazing supplement, I'm interested to know what you think that it might be. And perhaps it's no, that wasn't very, hold on, the joys. So what is Phytorex? It is obviously physical activity. It is an amazing, amazing thing that actually makes such a difference to our body. Our bodies were designed to move, and whether you have osteoarthritis, which can make moving painful, actually moving will actually keep your joints more supple, and it's one of the things that a GP will recommend absolutely for you to do, and that is just moving slowly. It is not vigorous exercise, and exercise is not going to the gym. And as you can see from some of the pictures, and some of them are pre-COVID, but all our health walks are back, and you can see that is one of our groups that went out actually about 4 weeks ago, when we were still on bubbles of 6. Had a brilliant time out in Delverton. We do things for women only. Lots of women have very little confidence around their fitness, or lots of women have issues around the way they look, or are they going to look silly and not know what the rules are. So we do quite a lot of women only sport, and that works really well. And you can see a picture of our netball, which grew from 5 teams about 6 years ago to over 30 teams, and in the summer league we have over 50 teams pre-COVID, and we're looking to try and bring back some of that social sport as we go. We can see even in that bottom right hand corner our Golden Age Olympics, which is stuff that we do in our assisted living and our care homes, is an amazing chance for people to maintain functional fitness. And it doesn't matter about your mobility, there is always ways in which you can move. So I'm going to just talk the next little bit of this, a little bit about, you know, how does it work and why does it work? So I think most people know that it's great for their heart, but in reality, physical activity does much, much more than that. It really operates at a cellular level, and I'm going to talk you through some of the science. And for those of us who are my age, 53 or above, and not quite so young, and when I look at myself on a video camera, I look at myself and go, gosh, is that really me? Gosh, I got a little older than I thought I was. It actually also has an anti-aging effect. which is the thing that I'm a little bit more focused on as I get older as well. So physical activity and Phytorex creates much healthier mitochondria and slows the effect of aging. So mitochondria are the, those of you who can remember your biology lessons from your school days will know that mitochondria are the little batteries that operate in each cell in your body. And they are the thing that keeps your cells going. So when our cells die, and all cells die over time, the mitochondria no longer operates. But actually, the healthier your mitochondria, the healthier your cells. And so when we're sat down, so if this is a mitochondria, this is your battery, if you think of it, a bit like your, you know, your AA batteries. When we're sat down, what actually happens is we start to build up charge. And a bit like if you think about a mobile phone or an electrical piece that you just stick into the wall, and the plug, if the longer you leave it, the hotter the plug gets. And that's in reality what happens to our cells. The longer we stay sitting and not moving, we build up charge, if you like, and we start to build up these oxidative, the oxidants, which start to attack some of the really key pieces of the mitochondria. And the thing that stops, and you can start to see when that mitochondrial DNA has actually been attacked so much that it dies, so does your cell. So the key bit is, what do we do to stop the mitochondrial DNA being, our cells being attacked? What can we do? And the antioxidants are the things that give us, protect us. So when we're active, what we start to see is we start to bathe the cell in almost, if you like, a balm, and we create all these antioxidants. Those of you who perhaps read magazines or watch the telly will know how much women particularly, but men as well, on all these products that we buy and foods that we eat, talk about antioxidants. It's cabbage or it's blueberries that you should eat more of because they create antioxidants. And this is why they are important, because they help provide a huge amount of protection to your mitochondrial DNA. And physical activity and moving creates more antioxidants and creates a real barrier for us about keeping those cells healthier. And that will make you understand why it is anti-aging, because you are keeping those cells plumper and younger, if you like, with that. But you're also keeping your cells very healthy, which protects us from all sorts of long-term conditions and disease. And they have found out that actually even during COVID, that actually being fitter can really, if you are unlucky enough to get COVID, being fitter can help mitigate against the risk of severe symptoms. And so fitness is a really key thing for our health and well-being right across the spectrum, from mental health and emotional well-being to physical health. So we talked a little bit about, in the Phytorex piece, about, I've got clumsy fingers today, so sorry, into actually doses of physical activity. So actually the most impact is done if you do nothing and you end up doing something. You can see in that graph between the men and the women. You can see that there's a huge impact when if you've been sedentary and not done anything, to doing something. And it is really important. And there's people on the call, and I've obviously no idea your backgrounds or whether you're active now or not, that you know you can be agents of change for other people. So I hope that lots of you are congratulating yourself that actually you're doing a fabulous job with your bodies and keeping yourself fit and healthy. And I really hope that that's the case. And if you are, congratulations, you are doing the best thing that you can do. Can you support somebody else to do that? Can you really support other people to understand the benefits, but also to help them, given that actually might have low confidence levels? Actually, they might say, getting out, you know, actually walking a long way makes me out of breath and that makes me worried. Can we support those people? And we're really keen for those people who are positive about moderate activity to actually help other people understand its benefits and to support them just to move a little bit more, because you can see the impact that that has on people's health. So here are the health benefits. So for cardiac heart disease, which is CHD, and stroke, the risk reduction is significant, and the more research that's going into physical activity, the stronger that strength of evidence is. Type 2 diabetes, which is it's on significant rise in Somerset. So and we actually can reverse some of the reverse type 2 diabetes with a combination of diet and exercise. But you would do that with a health professional. I just want to say that you do that with a health professional. However, if you are pre-diabetic and have been diagnosed as pre-diabetic, then actually physical activity is a great way to make sure that you don't move into the diabetic range. So I have a next door neighbour. He's 74, and he was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, and he said, I just don't like walking that much, really. And I said, would you like to borrow my dog, because I'm at work all day and she'd love a run. And so we have a fantastic arrangement. He takes my dog out and about every weekday that he's able to and is keen to. I have to say, even in the rain, which is rather nice for me, and has managed to stay non-diabetic. So he is not medicated for his diabetes yet. And that's amazing. He's been doing that for 2 years now. And not only has it brought us as neighbours closer together, my dog just loves him. And I think I have to say, I think my dog might have had a bit of weight gain, because even though he gets extra walks, I think my next door neighbour absolutely loves her, feeds her a little too much sometimes. But you can see also cancer is on there. So breast cancer and colon cancer, but also bowel cancer, all of those things have a really strong correlation to a reduction in risk. So we're not saying you won't get it. What we're saying is you are reducing your risk of getting it. And that is because when you think about the science and the cells, you're keeping your cells healthy. And so it is harder for them to be attacked by disease. And then hip fracture works in a very different way. When we have strong muscles, particularly strong leg muscles, actually it really helps us maintain strength and balance in our older age. It helps us, if we trip, it helps us stay upright. And we know that actually falling has a major effect on older people. So if you have elderly parents or more elderly friends, even if they're in their 80s and 90s, actually walking with them, even if they have a walker, is a great way to do a little bit. And we'll go and you can see some of those other things. Diseases that we are really scared of, that physical activity can really hugely reduce that risk of getting. So here are the guidelines for adults. And I would say it's adults and older adults. So it doesn't matter whether you are 18 or whether you are 96. These are the guidelines, government guidelines for physical activity. And it is, if you take nothing else from this presentation, I hope that you will take the piece that says sit less and move more. So sitting and being that sedentary, because I showed you what it does to our cells, just getting up and walking to make a cup of tea, or getting up every time there's an advert break in a telly and just walking around your room, or just getting up and down a few times off your chair, makes such a difference to actually how your body copes with being too sedentary. And you can see it's 150 minutes of moderate intensity. And I'll talk in a minute about what that actually means, because obviously it's very different for different people depending on their fitness levels and how much they can move. And you can see that Be Active, it can be just walking it, but it can be activity of daily living as well. Stairs. And Emily, who introduced us just now, she used to still is a very keen swimmer and used to work in swimming. But swimming is a fabulous way and relatively safe right now to go do. So, you know, but just walking outside is great too. Anything. I'm recommending anything. Loads of things online as well. And I'll give you some resources before we finish. So we've talked about moderate and physical and vigorous physical activity. So what actually is that? So a person, we always talk about this, the talk and sing test, and it is a great way because then it becomes very individualised for all of us. So a person who's doing moderate intensity activity, which is the intensity that we really recommend for everyone, will usually experience an increase in breathing rate. They will feel warmer, they might sweat, and that's fine. And they will be able to talk, but probably can't sing. Or maybe they couldn't sing before in June, but they can't sing in terms of a beautiful something that they would share with everybody, because it will be a little staccato-y. And that's that safety piece around actually, if you are helping other people change, or you're keen to make a change yourself, you should always be able to hold a conversation or be able to talk. But actually, if you can't sing, so if you're singing along to something in your ears, some music that you're listening to, and you're finding it's just a little bit broken, you need to catch your breath, you're at moderate activity levels. Vigorous activity levels, you probably can't talk or sing, and some of us love, I find vigorous activity, I really quite like it. I find it does great things for my stress relief. I find that it's a nice challenge for me, but I am starting to find that actually I'm also getting equal benefit from doing longer walks with my dog at moderate intensity. And it is 150 minutes a week, and we don't mind how you take that. You can take that in 10-minute bouts, you can take it in 5-minute bouts if that's what you want, but you are just doing 150 minutes in a week will make a difference to your health and well-being, a significant one. So one of the things that SASP do is we really like to work with individuals as ambassadors, just like I've asked you to do, to influence other people to be active. And I thought it would be nice just to play some of our, I suppose some of our thoughts from our ambassadors. So we run a programme which is a national programme, and you may have seen it on the television, called We Are Undefeatable, or on social media, which is actually about getting people to understand the benefits of physical activity if they have long-term health conditions. I just want to play you some of this, and we've done this particularly, we have 12 ambassadors, and we wanted to do this particularly around COVID, and so they've recorded a few things about their thoughts. It'll take a little while to load.
When you're on your own and then you can't go out, the isolation can become all-enveloping.
It's changed my physical activity considerably.
The enthusiasm levels dropped off quite dramatically. They disappeared off a cliff.
I have done a load of gardening, and we've done building in. We've put a fence up, so there's a lot of digging of holes, mixing of concrete, putting up a post, you name it, we've been doing it.
To begin with, I craved that human contact because I was missing it so much. but now I'm not hankering after it, and I think that's going to be the most difficult thing, getting used to being with people again.
I can't wait to be able to get that little bit of adrenaline flowing again, to be canoeing on a river somewhere, to be sailing on a lake somewhere. I would recommend that to absolutely anybody. Take up something from scratch and get better and better at it, because it does wonders for your emotional and mental state. It really does.
So I very silly should have shared some of, I should have told you who each of them were. So the first person we saw was Chrissy, and she has osteoarthritis. She lives by herself in West Somerset, and her real worry, she's always been active. She does tea dances, that's where she comes. So she loves to tea dance, and she dances. And she's done a beautiful job, even though she's been shielding. She has done a beautiful job during lockdown, keeping in touch, and you can see that she does have digital access, and is happy to, we videoed that over Zoom, I think. But she has maintained moving with her friends over video. So John, who you can see on the picture there, has asthma and prostate cancer. And he's, his big thing was that he always hated exercise. But now he said, I've got into a really good habit and I miss it now that I'm not doing it. And so he has moved into a much, I'm sure his wife's very happy, moved into sorting out their garden in a big way. And Stuart, who is on his second round of cancer, is a real advocate for physical activity, and his big message is, you know, if you start something new, you know, you can only get better at it. And he was a wonderful cricketer and sportsman in his time, and in his 50s, I think, he took up sailing, and which he'd never done before, and got better and better at it. And now he has a small dinghy which he goes out on with his wife, and just absolutely loves the water. So it just goes to show, it doesn't matter what your age, you can all try something new, whether that's new walks, whether that's running. I saw on the news yesterday, oh no, maybe it wasn't the news, it was an NHS programme that said a guy who's, I think he was 80 something, is going to do his 5th London Marathon. So I just think that, you know what, there's our only limitations really are what we choose to put in. And where we do have long-term conditions, or we think we have limitations, then actually people like SASP would be happy to work with you, to work out what you would enjoy doing, and what you could move more to. So I'm not going to talk anymore, because I've talked at you for what feels like a long time. I just want to leave you with these key messages, and it is the thing that I'd really like you to take away, to pass down the line and cascade to your friends and family. So move more in ways that work for you. I don't care if today, if you're going to cook the tea tonight, if you wander around and spin around with your wooden spoon in hand and racing around the kitchen, dancing to your favourite tune, you know what? That's perfect. You don't need to do formal movement and formal exercise. Just move more in ways that you love, and dancing is a fabulous way to do it. If you've got young children at home, you know, dancing with them is a fabulous way to go. And my other message is sit less. Actually, you know, the reason why there's lots of messages out there about actually you shouldn't sit for more than an hour, and it is because of when I showed you the cells around sedentary behaviour, actually you start to kill off your cells if you sit for too long. So move more, sit less. And the other key message is something is better than nothing. Don't wait for tomorrow and say, oh, I'll start a new leaf tomorrow. I'll start a new leaf on Saturday. I'll start a new leaf in the new week. Don't. Just do something now. That's fine. It doesn't matter what it is. Just do something now. So, and I've also left some key websites that you can go and find. So the SASP website, you'll find a whole wealth of, under the Be Active at Home menu tab, you'll find a whole wealth of videos and different things that you can go onto. So not just ours, but it is a whole collection of what is out there that we would recommend as safe and appropriate for all people. The We Are Undefeatable website also has lots of information and is supported by some of, our 12 biggest charities across the country. So Macmillan, Asthma, Parkinson's, Age UK, Red Cross, all of those are all under there. And This Girl Can for those women amongst us who are perhaps looking for confidence or don't feel very happy about what they look like, which seems to be a uniquely female worry, that we are worried about judgment. But actually, you don't need to be judged, you just need to look after yourself and go and enjoy yourself. So I'm really happy to take questions if anybody's got any.